Copilot and Teams. Anyone already have seen stuff around Copilot? Okay, did you keep track of how many times you heard AI and Copilot today? Copilot is all the rage, AI is all the rage, and we're going to talk about how you can work with Copilot and, more important, the title gives it away, right? Harness the power of AI, extending Copilot. Now, to set the scene, what we want to do today is we want to help you understand how you as a developer can take the advantage of AI in Microsoft 365. So in the Microsoft 365 experience, there are a lot of ways that you will be encountering AI. You will see Copilot popping up of different locations. And maybe you've already seen some of the Copilots there. There is a Copilot in the Power Platform where you can tell a large language model what you want to do, and it will tell you, oh, you'll need to create this flow. Let me create a flow for you. So you can actually use natural language to explain what you want. In the session before, we saw Copilot, the GitHub Copilot experience, where you could say, hey, I've got a question on code, and maybe I want to change something, or please help me write more secure solutions. This is the code I currently have. Do some improvements for me. So you will see Copilots popping up everywhere. First of all, you can create plugins for Copilot. You might have heard of the term plugins, but what you can do with plugins, you can actually extend the Copilot experience with your own app, data, services, skills. If you look at the first one with plugins for Microsoft 365, you can extend that Copilot experience with your app's skills, with the experience that your app already might provide. Now, if you've been building Teams app, you might have seen the adaptive cards, you might have seen the extensions, messaging extensions, you might have seen tabs. So if you already have built a messaging extension, then leveraging that to a plugin is going to be really, really easy. Allows a user to interact with an external system. So within a chat experience, I am able to get data from that system, and the way that I return that data depends on what I want to show. I could show adaptive cards, could show raw results if needed, but basically I search the external system for the information I'm looking for, I execute any actions, and then I will return those results most likely in adaptive cards because that is the most fancy looking experience. Now, if you already have a messaging extension, you already have a plugin. So that makes life easier. You don't have to do anything. So since we already built a messaging extension, hey, I've been told we already have a plugin, I'm good there. Now, as soon as Copilot comes available, any messaging extension will be shown as a plugin. It will be there. Nothing for you to do in there. So let's have a look on how that would look. There is a nice plugin. Let me press next, and I hope that my animation plays. There we go. So I can ask, catch me up on all the outstanding issues, get a return, can ask some follow-up prompts, and Copilot will actually reach out to this system, Zoho Desk, and this is an adaptive card or a messaging extension, basically a combination of both, and I can just go through that experience. The cool thing is that I get my own user experience, and I get full control of that user experience from within the context of Teams. So users already working in Teams can stay in the context of Teams and work from there. Now, the other option is you can also create, obviously, a plugin from an API. So I don't have a messaging extension yet. Maybe I want to create one. Maybe I don't. Let's start with an API. The way that you create a plugin from an API is you have to have that API, which I would say probably makes some sense. You have to document it, and well, no one likes documentation, but without documentations, it's fairly hard to do anything. If you already have that API and you already documented it, you'll probably have a Swagger open API definition where everything is in. And then the only thing you need to do in that case is create an app manifest. Now, if you're already having your API and you don't have a messaging extension yet, you can put in Azure API Management, and what is announced is that within Azure API Management, you do have the option to govern your plugin usage. So you can say, I'm going to do rate limiting on anything that's coming from my plugins, which might make sense because, well, next thing you know, you have a user hammering your API because he's asking a lot of questions through Copilot, and well, that might be a risk. You can, with that, prevent unintended spikes in usage. You can do monitoring of API logs. So definitely recommended to put it in place. It's not required, though. So if you just say, I want to play around with the experience, I want to see what it does, you're not required. You can play around with the stuff. That's a caveat to be aware of. Now, if you want to play around with this, I can definitely recommend on signing up for the plugins dev waitlist. I know at least I signed up with all the customers that I work for because I really want to play with it. It's really awesome. If you already have a Teams messaging extension, you might get priority over not having a messaging extension. So it might be worth spending a day or two on building that messaging extension.
Thank you very much, Albert-Jan.
Thanks.